This is Adam Watson.
And Levon Baker.
And you're listening to the Darkslinger Mafia podcast. So, next week we're going to be on hiatus. There won't be a new episode next week, because it's the 4th of July and I'm going to be out of town on Sunday. So, to make everything easy on myself, I'm just not going to record next week. We're going to skip a week, but we will be right back the following.
Sounds good.
So, we're not going to be off the air for all that long. Or whatever the hell you call it when you record something and put it up on the internet. Is that still like on the air? I'm unsure.
Isn't on the air when it's actually airing?
Yeah, I would assume so.
So it's like live.
But it's still kind of airing in a way. So
yeah.
I don't know. I still think of this like radio, but maybe that's because I'm old.
Nah, I can see it.
Could be because the first couple of times I got interviewed, I was on the radio, not on a podcast. Yeah.
Did you have like a sexy Casey Kasem voice?
I tried to. No, it's like I got interviewed for this radio station over in Georgia. That I knew nothing about. I didn't know if it was like a talk radio station, a country radio station, like rock, what it was. But in any case, this guy had this hour to talk about comics, and he asked me if I wanted to be interviewed for it, so I'm like, sure. But I think the first one, actually before that, is I did an interview with KUFO. We're just going to have to work around it.
The kitty parade.
Yeah, so there might be weird background noises during this episode because we're recording this right before the 4th of July, and 4th of July in our town actually means a shit ton because we have a huge buckaroo. It's like the one thing our town actually has. So there's like kitty parades going on outside. People are lighting off fireworks. People are getting crazy for the rodeo to begin, and we are not all that far away from the rodeo. So if you hear anything in the background, that's what it is.
My mom texted me and was like, "Are you guys gonna go watch the kitty parade?" But she spelled it like kitty cat.
So the kitty parade's tonight?
It's going on right now. That's what the sirens are. She said she couldn't get back to her house.
Oh, shit.
It was awesome. I was like, I want to go to a parade of cats.
I never got exactly what the kitty parade is, and I've never been to it. It's just like the little kids, right?
It's a dumbed-down version of the big parade.
Okay, but they have kids in the big parade, so what's the point in the kitty parade?
It's just the kids' stuff. Basically, so kids can get 2 times as much candy.
All right, cool.
Yeah. I mean, it lasts like 10 minutes.
I want some of those little caramels they always throw out.
Right.
Yeah. It's like you can't buy those in the store. You can only get those during Halloween and the 4th of July. Same with like those strawberry hard candies with the gel stuff in the middle of them.
Right.
You can't just go to the store and find those.
Exactly.
Number one, because I've never looked when I've been at the store. But
I think you can get the caramels at Winco.
You can get the caramels anywhere.
You're just messing.
I'm just fucking around.
I was going to say, like, I think you can get those.
They don't taste as good, though, when you buy them at the store.
Very true.
They have to be something that get thrown at you from a moving car.
And it has to be hot out.
Exactly.
So the flavor's extra.
And then it's easier to chew the caramel.
Exactly.
So, you got all that
totally
going on.
Worth it.
So, yeah, speaking of the 4th of July, the clock is ticking to get the Episdoe
Yes,
done.
I need to work on that.
Yeah, so did you get any time to last night?
No. I tried piecing it back together, and it wasn't working. So I might need to figure out how we can do that with Photoshop.
Okay.
Because I'm worried that if I try to stretch it with my computer using other programs, it's going to mess it up and make it all pixelated and nasty.
Right. Well, just get here early enough tomorrow morning.
Okay.
And we'll just, I'll set you up and we can work on that.
Yeah, I don't think it'll take that long to finish it.
Probably not.
Pretty simple color-wise. So.
Yeah. Yeah, and late as it's getting, even if we do spot coloring.
Yeah.
You could always keep it fairly darkened because it's supposed to be at night with the exception of, the fireworks, things like that.
Right.
So.
Exactly.
And, this is just kind of like the teaser promo for Episdoe, so it's not like it has to be absolutely exacting, perfect.
Yeah. I would like it to be pretty.
I would like
pretty
it to be
nice
as well.
so that I can be like the first thing that Darkslinger's posting about.
Right.
Looks great.
The 4th of July pinup that we posted last year was done in 2 days.
Okay, so I don't feel so guilty.
No, it wasn't because of the artist. It was because of me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I've been kind of him-hawing about getting a pinup done.
Right.
And last year, I focused on pinups for holidays I hadn't done yet.
Yeah.
So Elbow Vine Muerte, I've done lots of Halloween pinups. I've done lots of Christmas pinups. But I added St. Patrick's Day, the 4th of July, Thanksgiving, of course, did Halloween as well. But instead of Christmas for pinups for EBM last year, I did Yule. And I was like, nobody ever does a Yule pinup, so this would be perfect, you know? So we had just kind of done those, but like the first pinup was St. Patrick's Day. Paul did it.
Right.
And when I was doing the 4th of July one, I'm like, shit, you know, I need to find somebody. You know, Paul was busy with stuff. I need to find somebody like lightning quick.
Right.
And I put an ad up, and it wasn't until it had been up for like 5 days that these two guys had contacted me, who I liked both their stuff. And when you can't decide, the only logical thing to do is have them both drop the character and see which one you think is going to work better, right? Story has a fairly happy ending for both of them, though, because Gabriel is the one who ended up working on the Independence Day pinup. Yeah. And he's now the El Bovine Muerte regular artist. Patrick was the other artist who I was having a hard time choosing between, and he is now the artist on Little Lame Mine and the Mini Slingers.
Nice.
So I found both artists that way. But, you know, Gabriel got me the piece, and I'm just like, okay, we got 2 days before this would absolutely have to be posted. Do you think there's enough time? And he's like, it's not much time. I was like, no, it's not. And, you know, much to my surprise, because, you know, I definitely wasn't going to hold it against him if he couldn't get it done. Right. Much to my surprise, he got it done, and Lame Mime is Uncle Sam, and, you know, it's perfect.
And it looks totally badass.
Yeah. So this will only be the second time I've ever done a Independence Day pinup. Damn. But I like the idea of doing pinups for, like, just every holiday, you know, even the goofy stuff like Flag Day and weird stuff that, you know, I mean, like, we know about Yule, but a lot of people who aren't weirdos like us probably don't. Right. So
no, that's like I
want to do a Beltane pinup at some point.
Dude, that would be awesome.
Right.
I have a little calendar that my mom had given me way back because I was like, oh, I need a calendar. She had all this extra crap from way back when she was scrapbooking, and she had a blank calendar that you can draw on and stuff. So I ended up starting to draw on it, but I went through my phone while I was at work one night and literally wrote down every stupid holiday that I could possibly find online. And then anniversaries of every, like, main classic Universal Monsters movie. All the actors and actresses' birthdays and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, I have, like, 2 years worth of holidays. So Bela Lugosi's birthday. That kind of shit. Cool. Yeah, so I have all this stuff planned out that has to do with that. Because I was like, I need something that I can be more frequently posting.
Yeah, that's the key with anything webcomics. Just, you know, I mean, like, if we're doing the main comic this day, it's nice to be able to have additional material that can go up the other days. You know? So, and I've been focusing with EBM on solely just getting the story done, you know, because I have so much of it written out. Right. And I just wanted to complete as much of that as possible. But when it comes to some of the other stuff, you know, it can be a little bit more challenging in ways. Definitely. So, I do have the Halloween pinup for EBM already done this year, though. Really? Yeah, you've seen it. Yeah, it features a character that's not Lame Mime.
Oh, okay, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
This one is done by Benny, and I'm probably totally mispronouncing the last name, so I'm very sorry, Benny, but Benny Olea. He is the guy who actually designed the Darkslinger logo. Nice. Yeah.
So I totally spaced it.
He got a hold of me. Well, it was done weeks ago. That's why. He got a hold of me, I don't know, 2 months ago, something like that. My time awareness is not so well at the moment.
No, I'm going to say it was 2 months ago due to everything that...
But he's also working on another EBM pinup that we won't be releasing until 2020. Damn. Because it deals with the election. So I'm already planning out like this whole big series of pinups and little short joke stories to go along with the election.
Dude, but that's awesome that you have that far ahead planned out.
It is. And I kind of want to just dedicate, like, you know, I don't want to ever be the guy who just does everything politically motivated, and I think that politics and comics right now are so stupid. Right. Because you go on, like, comic creators' Twitter, and it's like, Donald Trump, you can't do this, da-da-da-da-da, and it's like, number one, he's not going to listen to you, because he could give a shit that you write Spider-Man. Yeah. Number two, you aren't saying anything that no one already knows. We all know this. Like, you're reiterating something that someone else has already said, who's a lot more famous than you. And that's what all the comic creators are doing right now. Yeah. You know, and it's just like, it's so fucking stupid, because it's like, they're not sharing petitions.
Right.
They're not sharing shit on, like, going around and trying to actually have protests.
Yeah.
And protests that are actually keyed towards something specific. You know, God forbid a protest actually has a fucking point to it.
They're just bitching.
Right? I mean, like, they're not sharing anything like that. It's like, did you know that Donald Trump is a bad president? And then they post that like 80 times a day. And it's like, of course we fucking know that. Like,
That's
duh,
so
you're not teaching anybody anything, you know what I mean? And so it just becomes so stupid. Because, like, you're not going to convince someone who is a supporter of this president or that president to, you know, the argument that, like, Trump's a bad president, Obama is a bad president, George W. Bush is a bad president. People probably already know that, number one.
Yeah.
Number two, you're not changing anybody's mind just by making that argument.
Yeah.
Like, actually go study, learn something.
Right?
Be like,
provide a little bit.
Right? This is what this person is doing that, like, is against this law or whatever.
Yeah.
Then talk about that, you know? But, like, I would say about 75% of the Twitters of professional comic creators I've seen are not doing anything close to that. It's all just, you know, blah, blah, blah. So, well, anyway, I want to do this political thing. And I want to have Lame Mime run for president. I don't know who he's going to be running against. It probably, in all reality, won't be one of the real politicians.
Yeah.
But I had this whole idea for it back when it was Trump and Hillary. And I didn't have the time to pull it all off.
Right.
But I so wanted to have this picture of Lame Mime, and it would have been perfect to have the Uncle Sam image of him that was shown for the 4th of July last year, because I wanted something where he looked like that with like a circular ring around him that, you know, was like, vote Lame Mime for president, and then underneath said, because even an imaginary clown is better than these two asshats. Or because an imaginary mime is better than these two ass clowns. That's what it was. Nice. That's what it was. That's what the tag was.
That's amazing.
And so I kind of feel that no matter who the candidates are for 2020, I can still use that.
Yeah. Now, that could be really fun, especially like if you have Comic-Cons that are coming up.
Right.
Print off stickers.
Yeah.
Hand them out as freebies.
I'm not a big fan of stickers, but I could do like window clings.
Yeah.
Or even shit like T-shirts if I get them printed up at promo prices. Or people might pay for it. Who knows?
Exactly.
But the reason I'm not a big fan of stickers is because years ago, a company that I knew were handing out just like shit tons of stickers at ECC. And everywhere you went, their damn sticker had been stuck.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And so part of the problem was I knew the people that they were having hand out the stickers weren't really respectful towards other people's property.
Right.
So I'm pretty sure it was the people who were handing out the stickers that were doing it.
Not even
but
the people
all
that were
the
giving
same,
them to?
Yeah, I don't think
Damn.
so. But all the same, I don't want to run the risk of being at a Comic-Con and having the venue find Darkslinger stickers all over the escalator.
That is a very good point.
And I know at San Diego, they'll charge you for it.
Okay, yeah. Window clings are definitely a better idea.
Yeah, if they know the company that did it, they will get a charge for every single sticker they have to. Well, think of how much work it takes to, like, I mean, I used to be a glass guy. I know what it takes to actually pull a sticker cleanly from a window surface. Yeah. So for, like, a janitor to have to do that all the time on an escalator's glass partition.
Yeah, that sucks.
It's not fun.
That is not
You know? So, or sticking on the escalator step itself. And having it go and gunk up down there, you know, and all that stupid shit.
Right.
So, you know, I don't know if that was just an isolated incident or what. But after seeing that, I'm like, I'd rather do other things like really temporary tattoos, window clings. You know, there's lots of promos you can do that you don't need to be stick. Yeah, buttons are a natural thing when you're running for president. So if Lame Mime's running for president, of course he wants
just
to
have
like
buttons. A very gigantic one, like the jumbo size ones.
Think about it, like we can have somebody who's like the professional Lame Mime model.
Yeah.
At the con who's giving out buttons.
Dude, that would be so freaking
and
sweet.
So on and so forth. Because, like, if I did a big enough con, I could get one table that's the Darkslinger one. Put one right next to it that's, like, the political table.
Yeah.
Where he's running for president.
Dude, that would be amazing. I would
that would be. That's actually a really good idea. I should do that.
We should totally come up with some more ideas for that, and you should run with it, because that
would be amazing. Well, we have till 2020 to figure it all out.
Yeah, like a good 2.5 years.
Yeah, and the artwork's already being done for some of it, so. And this is the type of political stuff that I actually like to get involved in. Especially since it's kind of disruptive in a way. Because when people realize that, like, hey, these two candidates are both ass clowns, then, it's not such a bad thing.
It's amazing.
Yeah, this one might be a bigger ass clown than that one. But at the end of the day, there's still a couple of fucking ass clowns.
Yeah.
So you got any big plans for the 4th?
Work. Yeah.
You can come over here for barbecue first?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I am not excited to work, but...
No. Dude, 4th of July in Malala means carnies and meth heads.
Yeah, so I'm thinking probably come over and barbecue with you. And then pass out and try to get as much freaking sleep as possible because I'm going to be running back and forth with all those idiots.
Yeah, it doesn't
kicking
sound
people
fun.
off the property and...
You gotta do that every 4th?
Dude, yeah. So, last year we had... they were doing, like, their barbecue thing outside of the store. Which is normal. But then, stupidly, they didn't collapse down the chairs and the tables. So we had homeless people that were sleeping on the chairs. We had drunk people coming from the Buckaroo that were coming over and kicking things over, sleeping on top of the tables and the chairs. It was just a big mess. And so it was like every time you turned around, someone else was trying to do something they shouldn't have been doing. Or they thought, oh, there's chairs everywhere, we can sit out here.
We can just do that, yeah.
Yeah. But it's not fun. I've done this 3 years now. This will be the 4th year, and I told myself after the first one I wasn't going to be doing it.
Right. Yeah, when I was a kid, I worked at Thriftway. Is like a meat department cleaner and a bag guy, right?
Yeah.
So our boxer, I think that's what they call it now instead of bag boy, right?
Right.
But in any case, whatever. I was a guy who bagged people's groceries. And you always knew when the carnies got here because all of a sudden the whole parking lot would just be overtaken by like all these crazed, weird people.
Yeah.
And like 2 of them were coming up to the store one day that, you could just basically like see how dirty they were from a mile away. And, I'm sure not all carnies are like this.
Right.
But the carnies that we get here for our little carnival, they're kind of horrible people.
Oh, yeah.
So,
definitely.
But these 2, they come up to me and the guy's all like, hey. So, I said, hi. And they both respond with simultaneously, not yet. But we will be. Bear in mind, I'm like 16, 17, something like that.
Yeah.
They then grab each other's pinkies and start square dancing around.
What the hell?
Right? Start square dancing in the middle of the parking lot, and then alluded to me having a 3-way with the 2 of them.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and I was like, I gotta get back and work.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not something that I want to have to deal with.
Right, yeah, I didn't want to be asked that. So.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah.
A little
yeah,
too
and
much.
I'll keep it clean for the podcast and not say, what the alluding was, but...
Right.
It was a little bit more than just alluding. I'll just put it that way.
That's too much, man.
Yeah. But yeah, like, I was glad I only worked there for 1/4, but... This is the time of year that everywhere you go, people are going to ask you how to get to the rodeo. Which is funny, because in our town, there are like 8 signs everywhere.
Right.
That point to the rodeo. And, it's that big thing that you can actually see from everywhere that's all lit up.
Exactly.
Like, it's the biggest structure in our whole town.
That's one of the biggest things that we had issues with the last couple of years. Mm-hmm. The other problem is that now that they knocked out the car wash, we allow the Buckaroo and Carnival goers to park in our parking lot.
What do you mean the car wash?
The car wash that used to be up at Toad's.
Oh, that's not a car wash anymore?
They knocked it down.
They did?
Yeah, you didn't notice
shit.
it?
No, I didn't pay any attention.
Yeah, they knocked it down like 3 years ago, but ever since they expanded and repaved the pavement. Oh. And so now we allow people to go park.
I never walk over there, so I guess I never noticed.
Well, yeah, that's a good point. When it's nighttime, you really can't see it anyway.
Yeah, and I only ever really go over to that store at night.
Yeah.
So, because the only reason I go is because it's the only one open.
Yeah, that thing's been gone for a couple of years. And yeah, so now we have swarms of people that'll park over there, which piss off the apartment people and the employees.
Well, yeah. You don't want people parking, like, right behind your house in the middle of the night.
Well, and the other problem is that there's too many residents that have too many cars at the apartments, so they have permission to park in our parking lot.
Okay, so they use it like overflow.
Exactly. So if
so during the 4th, they can't really do that. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And the Nazarene church is right by you guys, and that's going to be, like, packed and thumping.
Exactly.
So, yeah, none
Church
of that
thumpers.
sounds fun. None at all.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Maybe I'll record
Maybe we could do a Kickstarter to fund, like, Lame Mimes. Little traveling political rally.
Awesome. Could you get, like, a little car that we could paint up?
I would consider it a success if even 5 people voted for Lame Mime on the ballot.
Dude, that would be awesome. You could have a whole thing where it's like, people can tag you on Instagram or Facebook and, use a hashtag, vote for Lame Mime, and they have to post their ballot picture. That would be amazing. That would be the first year that I vote.
Mickey Mouse gets, 10% of the votes every year or something like that?
Exactly. We'll overthrow Mickey.
Right.
Down with the mouse. In with the mime.
Down with the mouse, in with the mime. That's a good slogan to take on Marvel with, actually.
Right.
They're already taking themselves on, though, so,
True.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just let them overthrow themselves.
Seems like that's the way it's going. It really does. Like, the comic division, at least.
Yeah.
I've wondered if they're just trying to make the comic division implode so that they can just license. Well, I don't see them not having Marvel Comics.
Right.
But the whole thing, and Robert and I were discussing this on the podcast one day, and he's just like, oh, Disney has enough money, they could just keep it going forever. Why the fuck would they do that?
Right.
They're not a corporation that's set to not make money. That's not the goal of their corporation.
Right.
So the whole thing is, Disney's main thing is licensing.
Yeah.
They license Mickey out to be on comforters and action figures, and Marvel property is no different than that. They license Spider-Man to be a Hasbro toy, a baby bib, this and that.
Yeah.
Why the fuck wouldn't they just take those characters and say, hey, you know what, DC? You want to license out the X-Men? IDW, want to license out Spider-Man? Hey, boom,
Yeah.
You got any interest in licensing the Hulk? I mean, it could still be done in a way, too, that the Marvel Universe could still be a connected universe.
Right.
Depending on, how the companies want to work it and work together and everything, I mean, look at all of what IDW licenses, and they figured out a way to make, Star Trek and Transformers exist in the same universe, right? So, and the Ninja Turtles exist in the same universe, all those guys, right?
Yeah.
So, IDW could figure out a way to keep the Marvel Universe all one thing.
Dude, right? They could come up with a way. I mean, honestly, it'd probably make them more money than competing.
It would.
Because you'd be sharing the money in the end and distributing each other's
The only question is, what comic company has enough money?
Right.
And so that's why I think it would actually be multiple companies who licensed up different things.
Hey, that could be really cool, though.
It could be. It could be
a lot of potential crossovers.
But, when we were talking, he thought it would never happen. But one of the things I think is Marvel's already licensed out their characters for this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it was exactly, but Dynamite did, an Avengers Invaders book.
Really?
Years ago, yeah. And they licensed, I think it was a 4-part series. They licensed it, and they were able to do it, and it met with at least some success. And then, and IDW has to license Marvel characters every single time they make one of the big art books.
Right.
So, it's not like it's unheard of already, to some degree at least.
Exactly.
And I could see it happening, easily.
I think it could be really cool, actually.
If having a whole division is not turning over the type of profit Marvel wants. And in terms of, feeding the big beast that is the movie division, it's not going to make a difference if the comics are coming out under IDW or DC or Boom. At the end of the day, Disney still owns whatever they created.
Yeah.
So, when when you work on Conan for years and your company's licensed him, when the license lapses, you don't get to say, oh, well, I worked on all this and, my company published this, so we can just continue using this Conan material.
Right.
Not unless licensing agreement called for that to begin with.
Yeah.
No. Whatever you created is now the property of the original rights holder.
Right.
That's the way licensing works.
Exactly.
So, I could easily see them doing it. I don't see why they wouldn't, honestly, as a corporation.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to stay in something for the love of something. Especially not when you have less people buying Marvel Comics these days than what go to Disneyland in a month.
Very true.
There are more people that go to the park in 1 month then buy all the Marvel comics. Yeah. You know? Just think about that fact. I mean, I guess I shouldn't say it's a fact. I have not looked at official numbers. But,
right. But it's a good assumption.
It's a very good assumption.
Yeah.
So, yeah, in any case, you know?
Could be crazy.
Could be. It could be. But I don't know. Marvel wouldn't go away. And if anything, the quality of the stories might go up.
Right.
Because now instead of one company that thinks they need 42 Deadpool books, that may not change, because if you license something, you might want to release multiple series from the same thing to help pay for the license. That's why there's so many G.I. Joe books, so many Transformers books, so on and so forth. But, like, if somebody's paid all this money to license out all the X-Men stuff, you would think, in theory at least, they're going to work a lot harder to make sure it's good stuff that sells and makes money.
Very
you would
true.
think. And, you know, and, like, pretty much every company seems interested in licensing properties these days. Like, fucking Oni, for Christ's sake. I never thought of them as a company that did licensing. And they did the Invader Zim book.
Yeah.
That's got to be under license, right?
I would assume so. It has the Nickelodeon logo right on it. So.
Right? So, yeah, in any case, I think at times I'm the only company that's not interested in doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but you're a small company, and you'd probably like
even
to
if
keep
I were a
it
big
yourself.
company, I don't think that I would want to do that, though. There are other properties that if I got the chance to, like, if I had the license to the Tick, I'd take that.
Right.
I'd take that in a heartbeat. You know, some stuff like Scud, the Disposable Assassin. Yeah. Although I would prefer to just buy those characters outright. Right. But if I got the license to do some stuff in, like, those worlds, I'd be very interested.
Yeah.
I think the reason I want to be interested in licensing Marvel stuff is because it's been done.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot you can run with.
No matter what you do, it's all been done. The characters, you know, I mean, like, the movies are nothing but, like, taking this and this and this from this timeline or this part of history and then just combining it into one big thing.
Right.
And, you know, putting some new dialogue in to make it all work.
Exactly.
You know, so, like, it's all been done. Like, the X-Men will be a whole lot more interesting on the day that they actually let the original 5 X-Men all die.
Yeah.
And Wolverine's dead. And Colossus is dead. And Nightcrawler's dead. And some of those are my favorite X-Men characters.
Right.
But it'll be more interesting because they'll finally have an actual new group.
Right.
It's kind of like The Simpsons would be a whole lot more interesting if all of a sudden Bart and Lisa grew up.
Yeah.
You know?
I could totally agree with
the fact that they're all stuck in one single thing makes it less interesting. But at the same time, that doesn't mean that I'm saying that what would make it really interesting is if you killed off Wolverine and had X-23 become Wolverine.
Right.
I'm not saying that at all. Because I don't think, like, just putting a new character in an old character's costume somehow makes it more interesting.
Right.
I'm saying, like, do something legitimately new. And on the team books, you could have new characters, you know?
Yeah.
Like, there's no reason you can introduce some new X-Men characters and have some of the others simply age.
Yeah.
Like, you know, Cyclops could reach an age where he becomes a Professor X-style character, like in Earth X.
Right.
Although I think at the moment Cyclops is like some sort of bad dead guy or something like that. So I can't remember what it is, but... because I don't read them anymore.
Right.
So, anyway, enough rambling about that. So, no, don't get me wrong on licensing stuff, though. Just because I'm not interested in licensing Marvel Comics doesn't mean that I don't want someone to license my properties, turn them into things.
In other words, license.
It's got to be the right one. I've had so many licensing opportunities that were just so fucking... Well, let's just put it this way. A lot of the movie people who have made me offers are jokes.
Yeah.
But think that they're really cool because they're kind of in Hollywood. Although there was one dude who I legitimately did want to work with, but he wanted to wait to see where Ghost Assassin went. Which I don't blame him for. Because, you know, I would want to see your 2 years worth of material before I put out like $100,000 to option something too.
Right.
But I did do the licensing deal to have Who Will Save the World published in Italy. There were some guys who came up to me at CryptCon a few years ago who were making like a CCG. I think that's what it's called. CG. No, CGC is a grading company. CCG. A collectible card game.
Yeah.
And they wanted to have it like in this post-apocalyptic world, and they wanted to license the principalities for it.
That's
I'm like,
cool.
well, you know, show me some samples. Show me what your guys' artwork looks like. Show me what the storyline's like.
Yeah.
They didn't have any of that.
Ooh.
What they wanted to do was just license something and then build something around it.
At
the end of the day, it might be fine for other small publishers. I actually want to see some sort of prospectus on where this is all going.
Right.
Especially if it's going to tie up the rights to doing something like this with a different company for a few years or something of that nature.
Definitely.
So, yeah, that one. And then my favorite one was an offer to license my properties to put them on adult footy pajamas that had butt flaps.
It's so awesome. So ridiculous.
But the guy who wanted to do it wanted me to guarantee that I would buy 2,000 of each of them. And I was like, that's not licensing at that point. That's just my manufacturer. Like, I could go manufacture these myself. Or myself.
If I make these, will you buy them?
If I'm going to be buying 2,000 of each one of them, So he's like, well, we have some college football team that we're doing. And they're going ahead and buying 2,000 of each. I'm like, that's fine. They have fucking stadiums that they can sell them out of.
Yeah.
Like, I don't.
You go on 2,000 pairs of pajamas in your bedroom that you can take to cons? Like,
right?
Yeah. Maybe send like 4 or 5 samples and we'll see how they do.
Well, if you're going to license it, send me some samples.
Yeah.
Don't be thinking that you're just going to, get me to buy. And he wanted to do Elbow Vine Morte, Chronicles Von Helsing, and Ghost Assassin, I think.
Yeah.
So between those 3, that'd be like 6,000 pairs of adult footy pajamas. That's a little bit more than just what would fit in my bedroom. By the time you have all of those in boxes and everything,
right?
That's probably taking up like a good 2 to 3 rooms in my house.
So was he wanting to do like logos or just like artwork where it would be like?
We never got that far in the discussion.
Okay, so I was gonna say I can't really see Ghost Assassin or Chronicles being character pajamas. I could see.
I could see it with Chronicles.
Yeah, well, yeah. Now that I
Ghost
think about
Assassin a little bit more difficult though.
Right, because it's just going to be a character.
Right.
Be different if it was like just like.
There is actually a surprising amount of talking in that book.
Yeah.
And for a book called Ghost Assassin, it's not as action oriented as what which is actually something I've heard in a lot of reviews, because reviewers will be like, I expected this just to be a stupid action book,
right?
And it's not at all. And it's like, well, I appreciate that, but and I don't think the fact that it's not action packed takes away from it at all.
I don't,
because I think like action can sometimes just be used as a stupid tool,
right?
When you don't know what else to do.
You overdo it with action, it's not worth it in the end.
Yeah.
Why not build up to that one scene?
Right.
There you go.
And then there was a guy at one point in time or a company that wanted to license out Ghost Assassin to make it into motion comics, right?
Right.
Sounds fine. They had several phone calls with me. Like, we probably talked for about 4 weeks in total, going back and forth. And the stuff they sent me, it didn't look like motion comics.
Right.
What they did ended up making it look like a cartoon.
Really?
Yeah, which I'm far more interested in than motion comics, because just taking a static image and adding a little bit of motion to it,
right.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Making it look like it's animated in a way that's similar to like Metalocalypse or something like that, because that's kind of how it ended up looking, right?
Yeah.
That's a lot more exciting to me, a lot more appealing.
Definitely.
So, and they were good. I mean, like, they had good voice actors, good music tracks, the whole thing. It looked very, very polished, very professional. It looked honestly like something you'd watch on Cartoon Network.
Nice.
The problem is that if they did this, they wanted to be your master licensor. Which meant that they had the rights to get your property licensed by whoever they wanted to.
Yeah.
And they wanted like a 48% cut of any licensing revenue. And
what
it's like, why?
Hell,
You've taken.
dude?
I know that it takes a lot of time to animate this shit, but
right.
You are still at the end of the day taking something that one of my artists have drawn and animating it. Like, you're not doing the artwork from scratch.
You're tracing it and adding some extra frames.
Basically, adding some extra frames and adding motion with After Effects and Flash and things like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know the full process, but...
Right.
But, I was just like, I'm pretty sure that we could look into how to make motion comics / like animated things. And do them for EBM and Inspiratu and all of those properties on our own. Like, I don't need you guys to be my master licensor in exchange for this. And they were yet another company who, no money. Like, they didn't want to pay out anything,
That's bullshit.
Well, I don't consider it licensing if they want to license it for $0.
Yeah.
You license it for $0, then you're borrowing my stuff.
Yeah,
you're not licensing it. Anything going on for you artwork-wise?
Well, I did start doing a little sketch last night.
Mm-hmm.
When we were sitting in the living room last night and you guys were playing the Sega.
Mm-hmm.
I decided to get my drawing stuff just because I was like, if I'm going to sit here, I might as well doodle.
Right.
You know, take some time advantage and thinking, take advantage of some time. Just draw while I'm sitting there.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember what exactly it was that Tyler suggested, because he's like, oh, can I pick out what you draw? I was like, sure. I don't have any ideas. And he said something about he wanted a picture of Levon and Episdoe talking. And I was like, okay, I've already done that. So what are they saying? And I can't remember what it was that he suggested. And instead, I just flew with it and was thinking back to a discussion that I had way back with my brothers before any of our discussions had happened, about how maybe he's not just a motivational speaker, but he's also a therapist on the side.
Right.
So I started drawing this sketch, and it's Episdoe sitting in his big red chair. And he's got his little clipboard and a pen. He's like, so then what happened, Mr. Levon? And then Levon's sitting on the couch with his arms behind his head, all kicked back, and he goes, well. And then that was it. But I was like, it'd be kind of fun. Like,
I think we could work with something like that.
It was just a stupid idea.
The way we're going to do Episdoe, more likely than not, is going to be as like these short little snippets.
Right.
So it's not going to be like EBM where it's a big overarching narrative that has a lot of jokes thrown into it. Instead, it's going to be a lot of short little jokes that have a big overarching narrative thrown into them.
Exactly.
So we could do something like that.
I thought it was a fun idea. I don't remember how he came up with it. When we were at Safeway today, he's like, did you work on that drawing today? Did you finish it? And I was like, I didn't finish it. I got the sketch done. Well, was it a good idea? I was like, yeah, it was a great idea, Whatever it was that you came up with, it was not the same thing, but I totally had a better idea that sprung out of it.
So your idea was good, but mine was better.
That's not actually how I worded it. I can't think of exact words. Basically, I just told him that his idea that he didn't quite finish giving me because he just said, have them talking.
Right.
I was like, your idea for them talking actually reminded me of a conversation I had with my brother about him being a therapist, so I decided I would do that. And it's still your drawing of them talking, so...
Right. No, that works. You'll have to show it to me when it's all done.
Yeah, it looks like crap right now, because it's very sketchy.
Everything does in the beginning.
I threw it down in about 2 minutes of sitting there before they had to go to bed, so...
So, we will talk about that one on the next podcast. We're a little bit short tonight, but not that bad. Like I said, we're going to be on hiatus next week, but we will return the following week. Brand new episode of the Darkslinger Mafia podcast. I'm Adam Watson.
And Levon Baker.
Thank you for listening.